Hello there. Welcome to another episode of Star Wars Minute. It's the daily podcast where we analyze, we scrutinize, and we celebrate Solo Story, a Star Wars party, 1 minute at a time. I'm Alex Robinson from alexrobinson.fun.
I'm Pete the Retailer from PeteTheRetailer.com.
I'm Joseph Scrimshaw from josephscrimshaw.com and the worker at the Jedi Council Wet Bar.
The good tippers, the Jedi? Is it a cash bar or is it an open bar?
No, every time I ask for a tip, they say you shouldn't covet things.
Too attached. Too attached to your...
too attached to cash.
To tips you are.
Mace Windu, it's really weird. Mace Windu says, I only tip in compliments. And then he doesn't say anything. So it's really awkward, implying he doesn't have anything nice to say about me.
Oh.
It's a bummer, but...
That's the thing, when you're a Jedi Master, if you don't tip, it's going to get around. People are going to, everyone's going to know that's...
No, because then at the end, they're like, you did a good job and you were well rewarded. And I was like, oh, I did a great job and I was well rewarded.
Yeah.
I love that.
Opal Rancisis, absolute cheapskate.
Well, thanks for coming back and joining us for minute 63, Joseph.
I'm happy to be here in the Jedi Council.
Minute 63, it starts off with Beckett noticing a boot on the Falcon's landing gear, and it ends a minute later with a shot of a homing beacon on the Falcon's soft underbelly. So,
underbelly.
Thus, we have the answer to yesterday's match game question. What did we... There was the Falcon is fortified with blank.
No.
Fortified with, what did you put, Joseph?
I put an answer that Zoom does not want me to validate. I put nothing. Oh, this is just fun. Anyway,
there we go.
Infraction restraint was the real answer. But then the answer I wanted it to be is fortified wine and cheese nook.
Oh, that's good.
I like
that's
that.
Good.
Goes good with the wet bar.
Yeah.
I put fortified with vitamins as part of this complete balanced breakfast.
Oh, see, that's what I didn't get a chance to write mine down yesterday because I was reading it, but I literally, let me just finish writing what I was.
Pete, what did you have fortified with blank?
I had written.
Lando is so cheap.
A nutritious breakfast. Look at that.
Oh, we have a match.
Yeah.
But
I spelled it wrong. I forgot a K there, but that's you were rushing me.
Breakfast.
I had 24 hours to write that down, and I.
Breakfast is one of the larger cities on Alderaan.
That was my Sean Connery coming through. Breakfast.
Well, Joseph, you are the winner of. Congratulations, you've won a 3-day spa package in Ord Mantell, the moons of Diego.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it.
I like the fact that the Falcon literally has a chain holding it to the ground. It's very charmingly old school in that sense. Like you can override all the security systems you want. You ain't getting around this big a chain.
Yeah.
For me, it's like it really works to kind of that weird mashup of space fantasy that the Falcon in particular always to me kind of represents. Is like kind of the coolest thing ever in the original trilogy, and also it is clearly like George Lucas going like, "What? This is my car and my dog," and
right.
Go into that like the Empire Strikes Back joke of it making the engine that won't start up sound effect, right? To kind of bring it back from this heights of cool space fantasy to just something so literally earthbound as being locked down.
Yeah. I guess it's kind of like like Han Solo himself. Like, we all love Han Solo and want to be him, but he's a total, like, screw-up. Like, he's totally messing stuff up every time. But yet we still love him. So,
exactly.
Go figure. Why didn't the Empire put the Falcon on a chain? Or, for that matter, when they were in Bespin, why didn't they chain up the Falcon? For that matter, why didn't they put a tracking device on the Falcon in case they happened to get away? Like, they went through the trouble of deactivating the cloaking device, or their light speed. I mean, their hyperdrive.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a quicker thing, right? Although I've been I don't know. I don't know. Although I think we joked about that in our second season.
A long time ago.
Long time. Because that's something we used to joke about, like, Darth Vader walking out, be like, did your men break the windows on the Millennium Falcon? And cut to them flying away with a trash bag taped in there, like, going through hyperspace.
I would attempt to answer this in my book, The Hubris of Vader, right?
Right.
he doesn't think they're getting away, right? He's disabled the hyperdrive. That's fine. And like, yeah, it's like I don't need this inelegant solution of putting some boot on it. Come on.
So you think it's just like the classic supervillain thing of you do a plan one time and then when it doesn't work, you never like if they could totally have tracked them back to the Rebel fleet and like much the same way they did with the Death Star if they had.
Yeah, for me, it's also that a little bit of that. Like I think sometimes we see things from if this technology exists, then everybody has it always ready to go. And sometimes I think about it in real world, situations like if living in Los Angeles, right? Half the time you turn on any station, it's going to be a car chase that they're covering in helicopters, right?
Yeah,
and like. I don't know. For me, it's like just because the boots exist in the real world, doesn't mean that everybody has them ready to go at all times. Right.
Yeah, that makes sense. Or maybe Lando, because Lando was kind of secretly trying to help them. He didn't. Oh, we got rid of all our impound chains. Or maybe Lando is anti-impound chain because he knows what a hassle it is for people. So
maybe the landing gears are electrified, so you can't actually put them on or something.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Although I will back up
the modifications that Han did afterwards.
Not to open up the can of worms that you just nicely sealed. Why didn't they just like push the Millennium Falcon off the landing platform? Or blow it up or something, you know what I mean? Like, why even let it exist if they know that there's a chance that they could use it? I guess they did want them. They said that they could leave originally on the Falcon. Well, maybe so that's part of the deal changed, and that was a scramble.
Yeah, they hate that shit.
I like the idea of like a lower level Imperial like coming to Vader with all of these options,
right?
Not really understanding that Vader is brooding about this confrontation he's about to have with his son and seeing how powerful his son actually is, and will he be able to turn him to the dark side, and should he make that move against Palpatine? Is now the right time? Like, that's what's on Vader's mind. And then some Imperial pedant who's hoping not to be choked is like, Mr. Lord Vader, I have several options for you. We could deactivate. Like, the Vader's like, do not bother me with the details.
Right.
What? Why? What?
What?
Yeah, I totally like this version of it.
Yeah.
Well, back to Solo for a second.
Oh, Solo.
for a minute. Let's do 60.
Star Wars
60.
story.
Let's do 60. Yeah. Maybe that's if we ever want to rebrand, let's put that let's feed that to our marketing team there. Let's do 60. That's what we'll call the new improved version of Star Wars Minute. Let's do 60. Hi, I'm Pete the Retailer. Welcome to Let's Do 60. We're going to talk about 60 seconds of Solo, a Star Wars.
It sounds like a very upsetting game show.
Yeah.
60 of what?
Right. 60 seconds of Solo. That I'll take. Yeah. Can I say one other thing about the Falcon?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, yeah.
I love the idea, like when you mentioned pushing it off the, I wish the Falcon, I'm glad they didn't blow it up. We talked about that earlier in the season. Like, I think a lot of people thought it was going to get blown up in the Rise of Skywalker.
Mm-hmm.
I do like the idea of like the best joke in this, one of the best jokes in the whole movie is when the Falcon shows up when it's all wrecked up at the end of the movie, you know? And I wish that it was the Falcon was like the Big Lebowski's car, where it was constantly just always getting like wrecked and destroyed, and bad things were always happening to it. So I wish they kind of lead into that more.
Well,
so, anyway,
we'll get there later, but I agree in concept, but disagree in execution for later. So we'll save that.
All right.
She's degreed for execution.
Let's look forward to 60.
Let's do 60, starting now.
Give me 60 on the clock.
Here's a line that I feel like I want to work into my day-to-day dialogue more, which is when Lando, he's pretending to be surprised by the boot. He's like, "Oh, would you look at that?" He's like, "I am definitely going to have some words with someone about this." That's a good, like, non-committal, like, I will speak of this to a person. Like, I am definitely going to have some words with someone about this. Like, I'm going to start working that in there because it's a good, like, it almost sounds like you're taking action, but you're not at all. So
right, and it's also just like, I'm definitely evading responsibility or further conversation about this topic. Yeah, it's a great pivot.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you guys, I'm sure you've talked about it already, but this is in the minutes I get to chat with you fellas about is when Tobias Beckett's really popping up and come to the forefront. Were you Cheers fans? Do you always still see that this is Woody in space?
Largely. He's done a good amount of
He's done some other stuff, for sure.
to supersede that. But also, yeah, deep inside, it's always Woody.
Yeah.
That's funny because I never really, to me, I don't think of him as Woody Cheers first. I didn't watch. I watched the first few seasons of Cheers, and then I stopped watching it. So
once Coach died, you were like, "Well, how is this?"
No, I think it was actually when Shelley Long left. I think I didn't like.
You didn't.
I think I also went to college,
Savick.
and when you go to college, you don't watch TV as much.
When you go to college, you don't like Kirstie Alley. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
That happens to all of us.
She's not allowed on campus.
Yeah. So but I do like Woody Harrelson. I've enjoyed him in other roles. So
okay. Yeah. I love Cheers. I think it formed a lot of like my comedy sensibilities, and you know, it was on every night, and I watched it every night. So it's just he's got that sort of primacy imprint of like, even though he's done a million other things, and his performance in this has nothing to do with Woody, except for he drinks. Besides that, but it always makes me think of John Ratzenberger being in Empire Strikes Back of Major Brent Derlin, and then on the Bad Batch animated series, we got Carla doing a voice that it makes me want to complete the set of actors from Cheers, and like I want to see Ted Danson Jedi. I need.
A tiny dancing Jedi.
George Wendt.
Yes.
This Cheers tangent, but it was one of the lines that I remember from Cheers, which is not that much. I remember generally liking it, but there's only a few things that stand out with. Yeah, it's the one. No, and it's dumb, but it's exactly the kind of joke that I go for. Is that I think it's when Lieutenant Savick is dating that new rich guy, and you know she's at work, and a big bouquet of flowers arrives, and she's like, "Oh, like why can't Mormons send flowers?" And Woody looks confused. He's like, "I didn't know Mormons couldn't send flowers," or something along those lines. And just that, like his perfect delivery, because it could totally be logical to him. It's like, oh yeah, that could be a thing that works in the world, and like, why can't Mormons send flowers?
It's sad.
Yeah.
He's a fine actor.
And that's what I will remember. That's on his tombstone. Woody Harrelson, 19 whatever to 2080 whatever. Why can't Mormons send flowers?
I give up. Why? Sounds like a riddle.
And it should be 28 whatever on his tombstone.
Yeah. Well, speaking of actors, Donald Glover does a little actorly thing that I like, where Woody Harrelson is like, "All right, you know, I'll get your thing out of the boot, but you're going to have to take a pay cut for it." And then Lando says, "Like, I don't like it." And what does he say? I don't like it.
Yeah,
like,
I don't like it.
I don't agree with it.
I don't agree with it.
Yeah.
But I accept
and he does
it.
this thing where he's counting off with his fingers, and then on the third one, he turns it into a handshake. And I just thought that was like the coolest move.
Because it's like,
you're
it
being
starts
peer
out
pressured.
as a point.
Yeah.
It's a pointing, then into counting, then into handshake. It's like a three-piece
It's a nice
gesture.
bit of business.
Yeah.
I love that so much. I love the line. I love that acting choice. It's exactly what we've been talking about with old Landonis of like, I'm going to control the situation and control the narrative and walk out of everything like a one, even when I clearly did not.
Right.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just it's a good quotable Star Wars line, and it's like such a great line for day-to-day life. Like, I think of that line, I don't like it, I don't agree with it, but I accept it. Every time I rent a movie from Amazon, like I don't want to give Amazon more money, but like I'll get in that place of like, there's a specific movie I want to watch or I need to watch tonight, and I check all of the 87 other streaming services, and it is only available for a paltry $4 rental on Amazon. Like, how did we get to this place in our society? I don't like it. I don't agree with it, but I hit rent.
Yeah, I'll accept it.
And you're definitely having a word with someone about that later.
Oh, I will. At some point, sometime we'll hear something.
Well, I like, along those lines, there's something else that I like, which is also an acting choice. When they're having that conversation, Han is smiling like to Kira, like because he's on Beckett's team still. Like Lando's still the new guy to this, and he's like, yeah, like Beckett, like he's very much imprinted upon Beckett, and Beckett is on his team, and so he's like, see, my guy's got him. Like he's smiling with confidence that his team has gotten the upper hand slightly, and he's like, like, and it's not really, they don't like close up on him being like smiling, but they just. He's there, and he's doing it, and he's reacting, and that's a large part of acting, from what I understand, is reacting. And so he's doing it.
That's what I've been told, but I try to just listen.
Right.
It's a great little dynamic that Tobias is always lecturing everybody about pay attention, and Han's always pushing back like, I can read people.
Right.
I'm good at that. And I think he's got he's patting himself on the back like, I told you he was a scoundrel.
So question, an alternate take on this is who gets, so Beckett is negotiating him down so he gets less.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think, is Han smiling because he thinks now he's going to be getting more reward? You know what I mean? Like, does Beckett get this cut that he's negotiating? Does Kira get it? Whose cut does Lando's, you know what I mean? Does everyone just get more, or does it?
Essentially, I think it decreases the amount that they need to steal and process, right? Because they need to get, 10 keys or whatever?
Oh, I see. So they just basically are trimming his thing off the top.
They had to get, they had to get 10 plus another 25% of that.
More than that, because he settles for 25, doesn't he? Doesn't he originally say like 40?
Right, but they talk him down. So like there was no way they were going to have to get, right. So basically, when they left, they had to get like 5 or whatever the math. I'm not, it's more than that, but not math minute. Let's do 60 is not a math podcast. Let me tell you.
We should all go to Vegas together because I think we'd kill it.
Yeah.
I have a little device I put in my sleeve. It's perfect. They'll never look for it.
It's just a straw.
The last place they'd look is up a sleeve.
Mm-hmm.
They check the ankles in Vegas, but that's it.
But so I think they would have to get that much more.
Oh, I see. So it's not a matter of profit. It's just a matter of because theoretically they're going to walk away from this with no money, right? Because all the money is going to go towards Crimson Dawn because they're paying off the debt that
they could get more too.
Oh, that's true.
But the bottom line, it decreases their bottom line. So they have to get the amount that they're giving to Boss Voss and the amount that they're giving to Lando. That's what they have to come away with. And then anything else is gravy. So if you can decrease that bottom line, then that's either less you have to do or more gravy.
Well, who gets the gravy is the question.
Well, the coat and the pants do all the work, but the vest gets all the gravy.
Every once in a while, I feel like you guys have a language that I am suddenly not a part of, and maybe don't want to know what it means.
You guys don't know your hits from the 30s?
A brother, can you spare a dime? And then I kind of tap out. Slap that bass?
There's a song. I know it by the Hoosier Hotshots, but I think it's a novelty song from the 30s. The coat and the pants do all of the work, but the vest gets all the gravy.
Wow.
So, I'm assuming the gravy would be divided amongst the participants.
Yeah, I think if I was like, I don't know, like they probably should have negotiated ahead of time whether or not. Because I would think Han and Chewie would just get a flat fee. I would think this was like Beckett is hiring them for the thing.
Yeah, I feel like whatever amount of money they're going to be able to squeeze out of it at this point, Han is processing it as we're the gang together, and the gang is is Beckett, Chewie, and Han at this point. So they'll get a cut, and then he'll barter with
Got it. Okay.
Beckett.
Yeah.
That's the way I took it. And he's just happy to be like, okay. And he's just got that great energy of like, if we don't even need this Lando guy, I can get a ship and fly myself.
Yeah. He's antsy to get in that cockpit, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So Beckett says, all right, I'll get it off. Chewbacca, I'm gonna help me out. We're gonna need some of that Wookiee Oomph. which I wrote down.
Wookiee Oomph. Yeah.
I think Wookiee Oomph is the last White Stripes album. Or I could be wrong.
It is definitely a pop song, that Wookiee Oomph.
That was
Wookiee
from the 1940s, right?
That's like, like Chewbacca's dance hit. It's like a little bit of Lexus, but it's... but yeah, I do like that I like Beckett and Chewbacca interacting without Han briefly just for this. Like, Chewie's a part of the team. He's like, all right, Chewbacca, I'm going to need your help with this. They're going together to do it. And it's a good.
Yeah, no, I like, since the first film, right, the Wookiees are strong and powerful, and then Chewie doesn't always get to show it, and I feel like he gets a little bit more Wookiee respect throughout this film, right, of the argument being made, even at the beginning, like, well, Wookiees are actually, like, really valuable. I mean, it's cozy in their laps, but also, like, they're good to have on a team because they're strong, and then Chewie does get to, rip some arms and pound some people. Great.
Mm-hmm. Gets to show off that Wookiee Oomph.
That Wookiee Oomph.
Wookiee Oomph. Wookiee Oomph. Somebody sample me saying that. Wookiee Oomph. Wookiee Oomph. Wookiee Oomph. And turn that into like a dance song, like an EDM song.
Gravy vest. Gravy vest. Gravy vest.
Well, anything else for minute number 63?
Oh, well, we have the very end. Like the minute ends with the spy.
Right, the Enfys Nest returns. The return of Enfys Nest.
Right.
And Weasel. One of my
is that
favorite...
that person's name?
Yes.
Yeah, I was...
Zamweasel?
No.
Zamweasel, are you crazy?
No, this
is
one
of the... Zamweasel under there. You don't know.
This is one of the fun, weird things of, like, they cast Warwick Davis, again, is often, and they made him the same character is that he is in Phantom Menace.
Wait, so that character that we're seeing here is Warwick Davis?
Weasel? Yeah.
Yes. No, because I knew that it was Warwick Davis. I could not find the name of the character, but him being the same character from the Phantom Menace, this is new information to me, and that's embarrassing. Of course we should know this, but that's why we have excellent people like Joseph Scrimshaw on this show to help us with these things.
Yeah, so I think instead of just giving him yet another W name, they're like, well, just as like a fun little Easter egg, what if we make him the same character we last saw him in Phantom Menace, gambling on pod races and hanging out with disreputable people? And what if even for him, the Empire was too much and he made a change in his life? Or I suppose the way the Cloud Riders are described as coming together is that all of their planets were victimized by the crime rings in the Empire. Right. So all it takes to make you a Cloud Rider is one bad day, and Weasel had a bad day.
Weasel's Bad Day. That's going to be the comic book that tells the story.
Exactly.
So the Book of Boba Fett is... Where are we in relation to the Book of Boba Fett? Oh, the Book of Boba Fett is not until like 30 years in the future now.
Yeah.
From where we are here.
Most closer to like... Some of it happens... Some of it happens sooner. Most of it happens later.
We're 10 BBY, so yes, I guess roughly 20 years.
No, yeah, more like 15-ish. Yeah,
right, so somewhere around there. I was just trying to think if we could see
more
where
Weasel?
like we could see Weasel in between Phantom Menace and Solo to see him in his or see him after this.
Oh yeah, that would be great. Yeah. I would love it.
Yeah, yeah. Apparently, there's no in canon. There's no. No further information about his time between the two. But there was some... He did have more fleshed out, oddly, in Legends.
Oh, yeah.
Legends? They're still doing Legends at this time?
No, well, after
Phantom
Menace, Legends.
Oh, okay.
There was more stuff, because he was in Pod Racing Tales.
Mm.
And one of the Dark Horse Star Wars comics he popped up in. So he had some appearances in between, but those are now Legends. But I would like to see more Weasel, sure.
Yeah, I know some people really don't like it when things are overly connected, and I get that. But for me, just like as a kid, I loved the amount of times that Star Wars just kind of threw out an idea, and then you didn't know what the answer was, and then you had fun discussing it. So I like it. Just like he's the same character as Phantom Menace. Yeah, how the bleep did that happen is a fun thing to talk about and joke about.
It's a project to connect those dots. It's fun. Yeah. It's an opportunity.
An opportunity.
That's what we
And
said.
hopefully we will never see those dots connected. Yes. As we know, the lines are never as interesting as you think they're going to be.
Right.
So we find out that there's a tracking device on the Falcon.
Yes.
What will become this is where Han Solo got the idea to have his ship tracked by a tracking device. So we'll have
Right, naturally.
he'll have to include this as a memory in our New Hope edit.
Yeah, you would think he'd be better at picking up trackers.
I'm really surprised. Well, I'm surprised that it's just a little thing, like a thing I would have assumed like hyperspace. Like you would have, like you couldn't just like stick a thing on and have it stay on. Like I feel like it would be at least have to be like, you know what I mean? Like, we don't see how it's put on for all we know. It's bolted on, but
If it's just like some crazy glue.
yeah,
Yeah, it's an odd.
It's just like masking tape. That'll stay, right?
Double stick tape is really strong. Yeah.
Have you guys ever had need for a tracking device in real life?
I mean, we all have them with our phones, right?
That's true.
At this
Yeah.
point, yeah.
Yeah,
I
I guess
haven't.
I've tracked other people, I guess, like to see
you-
where they are on my
You
phone.
track me.
Oh, I track you all the time.
I get a.
I
get a
I'm never
funny
tracking
thing-
you. What are you talking about?
My wife's keys have a tracking device on them, so in case she loses them, she can see where they are and make them make a noise if need be. But then when I use let's say if I use my wife's keys to take the car somewhere, I will get an alert that's like, oh, Ella's tracking device is traveling with you, because they have an anti-stalking software basically. So if somebody else's tracking device is traveling is going exactly where you're going, it lets you know that you are being tracked.
So wait a minute. So in this scenario,
Yes.
let's suppose I am a person.
Okay. It's a leap, but I'll
In this
take
scenario, I'm a person.
Sure.
And so explain it to me. How does the tracking device, why does it let you know? Is it just because our things are, re-explain it to me. You know, who cares? I'll look it up on my own. This is not the time nor the place for this kind of...
it notices
thing.
that me and this tracking device are moving together. And so it notifies me, like, hey, by the way, that tracking device is moving with you. So if that's not, because, there are things with people
But is the
sneaking a
tracking
tracking
device you or the person stalking you? Why would the person stalking you have a tracking device on them? That seems
they put it on you, let's say, so they can follow where you go.
Okay.
Like if they took this tracking device and put it on my car or snuck it into my bag or something like that, so they could follow where I go.
Yeah.
Then it would alert me and saying like, hey, there's a tracking device that's going the same place that you're going all the time. So you just so you know.
So it's like you're being followed by a tracking device. Like the tracking device is 2 feet behind you, just so you know.
So if I hadn't taken my wife's keys and all of a sudden it popped up an alert that said like, hey, Steve's tracking device is going exactly where you're going, I'd be like, who's Steve? What's going on? Why am I being followed? So it's good in theory, in principle, it's good. Although as far as I can tell, there's no way to say, yes, that's my wife. Stop letting me know about that. Because every time it happens, it's just like, oh, hey, and if I get out of the car, do something, get back in the car and move, then it's like, hey, you're going with a tracking device. I'm like, yes, I know. Thank you. So
yeah, there should be some kind of override or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to be tracked for the obvious, safety and privacy reasons. But then also, I just don't like the... I don't really care about directions as long as I get to a place in the time that I am attempting to get there. But it's always a thing that people have lots of opinions about the actual route. And I have this in mind that if somebody was tracking me for some nefarious reason, they'd spend a bunch of time just staring at the screen going like, why did he turn left on Coanga?
Right.
So
what is wrong with him?
Your,
I would be kidnapped, and then I would get long lectures about the superior routes I should have taken, or why did I miss that turn?
Don't you know that joke about Take Fountain? Come on.
How to get into Hollywood?
Yes.
anything else for minute number 63 then?
That was
Final thing for me is that I like that shot where Enfys Nest and Weasel are watching the Falcon take off, and I'm sure this exists on YouTube, but I just almost every shot ever of somebody watching the Falcon take off is fun. Like from the stormtroopers to Luke on Octo.
Oh no, he's not. I was thinking of the rebel base with the speed gun.
Oh,
But
yeah.
that's the X-wings. Did we see the Falcon landing?
We see it
and doing
landing, right? It comes in over that guy's head.
So I guess you could watch it coming and going.
Yeah.
The Falcon looks great coming and going.
Yeah.
That's a tradition I like of people watching the Falcon leave.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the prequels, of course, that was the golden age of watching ships take off and land. So
the Clone Wars animated series, I love that show, but the main character of that show is not Anakin, it's not Ahsoka, it is ships landing all the way.
That must be a Lucas influence, because he's a car head, so he probably really likes those.
Yeah, I bet there's just like
shots.
Hours of footage cut out of American Graffiti of cars fully parallel parking. And
Cars taking off and landing.
Oh, it's so sweet. It's so sweet. His big complaint about Grease is you don't see the car land. That's what Lucas doesn't like about Grease.
We should add in a special edition of
a post-credit scene of the landing in next to the high school where Cotter's high school. So
it's all connected.
It's all the same cinematic universe, the Barbarino-verse.
right.
Joseph, what podcasts have you been participating in lately that you'd like people to know about?
Yes, I've got a podcast that I currently do with my wife called Obsessed, where we talk about things that we are obsessed with in the moment, or sometimes our entire lives. And then I have a Star Wars podcast that is called Force Center that I do with Ken Knapsack and Jennifer Landa, and we have lots of fun analyzing Star Wars and having a sense of humor about it as well. So if you're interested, check out Force Center.
All right, people should check that out. And Pete and I used to do a different podcast together called Alphabetical, where we would go through the entire Beatles catalog in alphabetical order from 12 to Y, 12 Bar Blues to, what was the Y one? Do you remember? What was the last one?
Your mother should know.
Your mother should know.
Mother should know.
I love answers that are accurate but sound like an insult. What was that song? Your mother should know.
Let's call her. Tie-in when we were guests on Obsessed. That was what you were talking about, the Beatles.
Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah, that must be why I brought it up. So, you can still find that wherever you find podcasts available all over the internet. And hopefully you'll join us tomorrow on the internet for another episode of Star Wars Minute.
Star Wars Minute.
Oh,